Hi, I'm Cathy Thomas. Rob Wilson, executive chef owner of Glasspar in Dana Point, is going to share the secrets of his pan-seared scallops teamed with truffle pea puree, mushrooms, and beurre noir. Oh boy. Chef, these are such scrumptious scallops. Tell me about the dish.
Well, the dish is inspired because it's spring, and I love to use English peas in the springtime. So peas and mushrooms go really well together. In spring, morels are great. We're using cultivated mushrooms. They're available year-round, so that's a plus for us.
All right.
We're gonna get going. So we have some beautiful English peas. As you can see, when I open an English pea, I basically just tear it off and rip down the side vein. And you can see that the peas are, you know, right there inside, and you just kind of pluck them out of the shells.
All right, Chef, can I use frozen peas?
Fresh is always the best, is what I say. We're gonna start by roasting the mushrooms. So I've got a little bit of 75-25 olive oil, canola oil blend, and I'm just gonna lightly drizzle a little bit of olive oil on each one.
And I've preheated the oven to 425 degrees.
And that's beautiful. A little bit of salt right over the top of each, a little bit of pepper.
About how long is that gonna take?
And about 10 minutes or so. Enough time to give us to do the pea puree.
All right.
So we have boiling water, a little bit of salt in there, and we're just gonna do what we call blanching and shocking. And we have to be very careful not to overcook the peas.
Right.
If you overcook them, they'll turn brown, and when they turn brown, it's not gonna be green.
It's not gonna be nice.
It's not gonna be nice. So we're gonna allow those peas to cook for about 2 to 3 minutes, just until they're tender and soft. So as you can see, they're starting to float.
Just like ravioli.
Just like gnocchi.
Yeah.
Now that the peas are cooked, we're going to just strain them out into the ice water.
And why do you do that, Chef?
We're going to shock them so they stop the cooking process and they stay green. We want them to stay
Really?
nice and vibrant.
Yeah, it makes them nice and bright, doesn't
Right.
it?
So now that the peas are cold,
Right.
we're going to put them into the blender. It's okay if you have some ice in it. The Vitamixes, they puree so fast that they actually produce heat, and we don't want any heat. We actually want an ice cube or two in there to keep the puree cold, and this will also keep the puree nice and green. We're actually gonna pour a little bit of water in here as well, just a tiny bit. I don't put any pepper in this. This is just salt. As you can see, it's we're gonna add a beautiful lemon oil and a little bit of truffle oil. The lemon oil gives it a nice bright, truffle's very savory, and the lemon oil actually just gives it a little bit of fresh, little, almost like acid.
Oh, it's beautiful, Chef.
Bright green, it's gonna have a little lemon hint and a little truffle. Now on to the scallops. This is a U15, which means 15 per pound. There's the muscle that attaches the scallop to the shell. You want to make sure that you take that off because that will be very chewy, like a rubber band.
What happens to scallops if you overcook them?
I will reference a Super Bowl. Bounce very high,
Yes.
very chewy. We want this pan to be hot.
Do you want it smoking?
Pretty much.
All right.
Yeah. So I like to season the scallops with a little bit of salt on both sides. And you notice I'm not using pepper on these.
No, you're not.
For seafood, I like to use pepper and other ingredients, on the mushrooms, of course, but on the scallops, I want the true flavor. I don't want it to over pepper. A little bit of oil in here.
There's the sound we want.
There it is. I like to sear them pretty hard on one side so it becomes nice and golden brown. While those are searing, we're gonna check on our mushrooms, which are done. Beautiful brown shimeji mushrooms.
I can see a little brown rim around this one.
Yep.
It's getting there. Oh, look at those.
Beautiful.
That's a deep golden brown.
That's what you want.
Time goes in.
A little bit of butter. And the butter, that's gonna become a beurre noisette. So a little brown butter, that's what you want. You want that nice golden beurre noisette. You can see it cooking the thyme. And then we're just gonna start basting them with the butter.
And I like how you're tilting the pan so that you can scoop up a lot of that butter
Right.
mixture. If I'm having 8 people over to dinner and I want to cook all the scallops at once, is it better for me to do 2 small pans, 1 big pan?
I would probably do 2 small pans. I would break it up just so you can have control, and you might want to actually stagger the start. So what you would do is just start with 4, and then that way you can be basting and the other 4 will be cooking, and pretty soon it will all come together as one.
So the base of this sauce is really a beurre blanc.
We call it a beurre noir, meaning black butter, because we actually infuse it with squid ink.
Yum. And at this point, you don't want it really hot.
No, because if you get it too hot, the sauce will break.
That's right.
To finish, we're gonna take a little bit of, I have micro pea tendrils.
Pea tendrils are delicious, and
They
they're
are.
so darn pretty. What are you putting with them?
Just a little bit of lemon oil, and then just a pinch of salt. We're gonna take our pea puree that we made, and we're gonna just,
Okay.
our mushrooms. We're gonna add little mushrooms.
And you cut those into little pretty bundles, didn't you?
Yeah. We're gonna take our scallops, gonna place those around. Now here's where it gets fun. Take a little bit of our sauce, and we're just gonna go a little dot here, a little dot here. In the restaurant is we do a little splatter.
Splat away.
So
Is that fun or what? Now you have to have a lip on your plate to do this successfully.
right, so just a little splatter.
I got a fork over here in the drawer that's calling my name.
It's all you.
Thank you, Chef.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Here's a quick tip from Melissa's. Creamless mushroom soup is a scrumptious choice when cooking for diners with varied dietary needs. With attention to ingredients, the dish can be a vegan or vegetarian entree or first course. Make it vegan by using olive oil to cook the vegetables and use vegetable broth, and garnish the soup with a vegan cream cheese or minced chives. A vegetarian version requires vegetable broth, but could use butter for sautéing. If you want to make a thicker soup, add 1 cup of uncooked rice to the mix when the broth is added. Once pureed, whether whirled totally smooth or partially blended, the soup will have a thicker texture.